Okay, so in this video we're going to be talking about lsmod, modprobe, modinfo, and sort of like the commands to do with loading and unloading kernel modules, basically. So first off, if we go modinfo USB-storage was one that we were talking about in the last video. And I'll pipe it into less. You can see that it tells us where the file name is for the USB storage module. It tells us the license, so it's a GPL. It tells us the description, USB mass storage driver for Linux. It tells us who wrote it. And it's got a variable in there, like information in there for the Red Hat version, so 7.1. And if we just press space to go through a few pages, okay. And then it's basically got some signing information down the bottom. So that's just giving you information about whatever module. So you could do the same again, but for say the E1000 module, and you can see that it's a module for the Intel Pro 1000 network driver. Again, it tells you where it's stored. So that's just an example of using modinfo to find out what particular kernel modules are for. Now, with modprobe, well, actually, I'll show you lsmod first. I'll pipe it into ls. So you can see that it's going to show you the module, the size of the module, and what it's being used by. So vfat is for MS-DOS based file systems. It's not being used by anything. You can see that fat is being used by vfat. USB storage is not being used by anything, but Bluetooth is being used by a few things. And you can basically go through here and see what all of the different things are being used for. So what I might do is just put this USB stick back into my computer system, because it actually has a FAT32 file system on it. So I'll just ignore this message. Go away. Alright. So now if I run this lsmod again, you can see that vfat is now actually being used by something, because the file system on the USB stick is a FAT32 file system. Now if you look at USB storage, it also now has a 1 next to it, because I have a USB mass storage device in the computer. So you can see how this lsmod is actually changing. Now, if I wanted to remove a driver, like say, I have to do this as sudo modprobe -r to remove a module, and v for verbose. If I do USB-storage, it probably won't let me do it because it's being used. And you can see fatal module USB storage is in use. Now, if I went to do it for vfat, it does exactly the same thing. But now if I unplug this USB device, and I do it again, you can see that it's running the rmmod command, and so it's removing vfat and fat. So these two devices, these two modules kind of rely on each other. And if I do USB-storage, you can see that it's just removed one device because it had no dependencies, or it had no other things using it. So you can see that modprobe is a lot better than just doing the rmmod, because if you did rmmod vfat, you would leave the fat module running and it's not being used for anything. Now, if we do modprobe -v for verbose vfat, you can see that it's using the insmod and it's loading up the fat module, and then it's loading up vfat because vfat requires fat. Now, if you wanted to do this manually, you'd obviously have to know where the kernel module is stored. So modprobe is what you would use to load modules for the kernel, because manually doing it would be a pain in the butt, because you'd have to know any of the dependencies that a module requires, and you also need to have an absolute file path. So that is showing you modprobe, and I will just show you rmmod actually. So if we did rmmod vfat and did lsmod, and we'll pipe it into ls, you can see that it's still got fat running, which is kind of a waste. So let's do rmmod fat as well. But as you saw up here, if we just did the modprobe -r, you don't need the v. The v just shows you what's going on. For verbose vfat, it automatically removes any of the dependencies that vfat had as well.